Where the Buffalo Bills introduced Joe Brady as their next head coach yesterday. Brady joined the Bills staff in 2022 as a quarterbacks coach and has the tall task of now going from quarterbacks coach to offensive coordinator to now getting them over the hump, something that Sean McDermott could not do in the 9 seasons that he was there. Joe Brady joined our buddy Pat McAfee and the boys and talked about his transition from offensive coordinator to head coach.
I'm not an offensive head coach. I'm a head coach. And I just told the guys out there, I can't wait for the first practice to go out there and Josh to throw a f***ing pick and I get to celebrate with the defense. I can't wait to be able to talk to our offensive tackle and get beat 10 minutes through it. Can't wait. I don't want it to happen.
Yeah, of course, because it's on you, but.
I know, you know what I mean? So, but I need them to know that I'm in it with them now. You know what I mean? And it's not hey, I'm going out to practice and I'm just yelling at the defense. It's no, let's go. And I want them to feel that. And so I hope that that's a mentality and a mindset that our guys have is they can't view me in the same way. And so it's not, hey, business as usual. Hey, Sean McDermott out, Joe Brady in, and we're just keeping it moving. There's got to be a different mentality in the way that we go about it. And I'm excited for it.
I thought yesterday's presser and the McAfee appearance were fascinating because Joe Brady did 2 things. 1, he established, I am not Sean McDermott. I am a new voice. 2, I am not just Josh Allen's buddy, and I am not just an offensive coach. I am a head coach of the entire team. Bart Scott, are you buying it? Is this team a stronger organization today than they were a couple of weeks ago when Sean McDermott was the head coach?
I don't think so. I don't think that, controversy and being challenged is a good thing, right? And I think that's what Sean McDermott did, and he was ousted for it because people's feelings was hurt. I think this was a power grab by Brandon Beane, and I thought that maybe, he dropped the ball. You talk about, also Joe Brady coming in, and it's all fun and games right now, but this isn't in Seattle with McDonald. The expectations are high, and now they're asking him to be a head coach and also a coordinator, which is a tall task. But that's the trend right now because of what happened in Seattle. Now you hear Robert Saleh saying he's going to do the same thing. You see the same thing with Mentor. In talking to Rex and former coaches that I know, it is difficult because you don't understand the administrative stuff that comes along with being a head coach. And can you lead these men when they viewed you as a position coach and they viewed you as a coordinator? Can you discipline them? Can you get in their face? Can you challenge them? And when adversity hits, like it hits every season, can you put them in line?
Harry, do you give him the benefit of the doubt, though, that he can do it? Or is this something where you're a little nervous also, where Bart's saying, this is a lot, and they're already expected to be a Super Bowl team, and here he is, first-year head coach, now he's going to be calling the offensive plays, too.
So I think the thing that stands out to me the most is that we sat up there and heard the owner, Terry Pagula, talk about offensive personnel and Keon Coleman and how someone on the offensive side, because he came back and said it wasn't Sean McDermott he was talking about, someone on the offensive side wanted Keon Coleman. Well, there's only one person I can think about on the offensive side of the ball, offensive coordinator-wise, which was Joe Brady, who made that decision. So you just turn around and say, we're going to hire Joe Brady as our next head coach. Let's fast forward it a little bit. So when you ask me who is more pressure on within this organization now, of course there's going to be pressure on Joe Brady. He's the now head coach, and the expectation is always going to be Super Bowl. But I think it's more pressure now on this guy right here, number 17.
Go on.
Because when Terry Pagula said, hey, Josh Allen's going to be a part of this process, you can't sit here and tell me that Josh Allen didn't vouch for Joe Brady, someone who called plays for him and got him not to turn the football over. So when you look at both of these guys, it's going to be extreme pressure. I'm not going to sit here and say he can't do it. I will say go out there and prove that you can, because it's not make the playoffs, have 2 playoff games. It's not AFC Championship game. It's hosting up that Lombardi Trophy and bringing a Super Bowl to Buffalo.
I thought the messaging was very, very specific yesterday. 3 things. 1, he is not McDermott, and he is ready for this independently. 2, what I thought was fascinating was Josh Allen did not make this decision. Josh was very critical in the interview and didn't play buddy-buddy here. And then 3, hey, this is as good as an external hire because Joe Brady came in and established himself as a head coach, Bills or not. What is your think on the transition from McDermott? We got here, but now Joe Brady's going to get us over
the
the
idea of having no NFL head coaching experience is troublesome because this is not Miami. You're not looking to get back on track. You're looking to go to the Super Bowl. What happens in the playoffs? You win in the margins. Everybody's good in the playoffs. Whatever degree it is, everyone's good. These are Buffalo's last 5 playoff exits. By 3 in overtime, by 3, by 3, by 17 the game against Cincinnati, by 6 in overtime. Margins. A missed field goal, a drop pass. Can he manage fourth downs? Does he know when to kick? Does he know when to go? Does he know how to run the clock? Does he know when to call his timeouts? Does he know how to deploy? Does he know when to be aggressive and to throttle back? An inexperienced head coach in high leverage spots, that's what worries me.
I will add this last little note. I have a ton of buddies that live up in Buffalo that cheer for this team, that are season ticket holders. They're not happy about this move right here.
They're going to
Joe Brady, welcome to Buffalo. That was quite a segment. And we'll say we got a week in, and already they're on the hot seat. We'll see how it goes. Can only tell. Buffalo seems to be happy in the building. Let's see some other spots and other organizations where they're at. We're going to run the hurry up here, do a little coaching updates for you. Let's start with the Philadelphia Eagles, who after much deliberation hired Sean Mannion as the team's offensive coordinator. Sean Mannion was the QB coach in Green Bay last year, and as a longtime NFL backup quarterback in this league. A bit of a surprise for many who have been following this. Mannion was a late addition to the interview process. Young guy in his early 30s. After talk of Dable and McDaniel and Kingsbury and these other famous names, it goes to Sean Mannion. So we start here with Bart Scott. What's your reaction to a second-year coach who has just 1 year as a coach and no play calling in his history on the resume, but longtime NFL player being the OC in Philly?
Meh. This is crazy to me, the fact that I thought this would have been the best job, right? You got a team 1 year removed from the Super Bowl, a team that's always in double-digit wins. Why doesn't anybody that, has a resume want this job? And we all understand that Sirianni, his background is, the offense, but, why doesn't anybody want this job? I thought that was perplexing to me. You have two great receivers, a top offensive line, a great defense on the other side, plenty of cap space, one of the best general managers in football, and nobody wants this job. I guess it's more to meet the eye. I would want to get behind and ask some of these people that interviewed or declined to interview why they didn't want the job.
Well, to give the counter and the stuff that's been mentioned, speaking to other candidates, they said, well, Sirianni's an offensive coach.
Okay.
They've already been to the Super Bowl twice. What can I do better? And then 3, the last offensive coordinator's home got egged, and it's not exactly the easiest place to work if things don't go great early. Obviously, Sean Mannion ran at the opportunity. He's going to have that job. Harry, I think you have a different perspective on this.
Yeah, I do, because when I look at Sean Mannion, number one, he was drafted to the St. Louis Rams that then moved to Los Angeles. Who took over as the play caller? It was Sean McVay. So when you look at Sean McVay and him being able to learn that system as a backup quarterback, and then you go to Clint Kubiak playing for him, playing for Kevin Stefanski, playing for Shane Waldron, who learned under Sean McVay.
Kevin O'Connell.
As well. And then lastly, coaching under Matt LaFleur, that offensive system. So the first thing that comes in my mind in Philadelphia is that Jalen Hurts, be prepared to play under center. If you're those wide receivers, tight ends, get ready for shifts and motions. There's not going to be any stagnant receivers or personnel in the football field. You're going to see a lot of things that you see from all those other football teams in that Shanahan tree now happen in Philadelphia, which I thought they desperately needed moving forward.
I was surprised, obviously, by the hire. So I started texting people in Green Bay and said, what are we getting with this guy? And everyone was raving about him. And really the thought is, you hire him now at this age where he's not the hot name, and you have him in-house, and then he's yours. You wait a year, and suddenly Sean Mannion's the hot candidate who's going to be interviewing for head coaching jobs everywhere. That's the theory. Get him in the building now, and if he gets such great reviews, Joe, I look at it and say, okay, well, at least they rolled the dice.
My most underrated part of the hiring cycle is hearing how much a team loves a guy after they tried to hire 14 people before him.
Right, thank you.
Right? Like now all of a sudden it's like, we really love this guy. Now that's not a knock on Mannion. He might have all the skill in the world, but he wasn't high on the Eagles list. So now he comes into the fold. Okay, maybe it can work. Green Bay last year was top 5 in offensive efficiency. They were top 5 in EPA. There's a lot to like about what they did. What makes the Eagles special is that they have a quarterback who can run the ball, though. And part of the problem last year was that Hurts ran the ball less. They wanted to preserve the body. Makes sense. But if a guy who runs well, and that's a big part of their offense, stops running, does it matter who the OC is? Are they able to figure out how to make up for that? Big question for Mannion.
When do we start having diminishing returns on this whole diluted, he coached underneath Sean McVay, so he must be great? At some point, we got to have diminishing returns on investment, right? The fact that,
Who said he was going to be great, though? Who said he was great?
You said it was a great hire. You just applauded it.
No, I didn't say it was a great hire.
I misunderstood that. My comprehension is always bad.
What you can expect now in Philadelphia is the quarterback to be playing under center, the offense to not be stagnant.
Okay, here we go with this new age of thinking, right? Getting somebody off a tree. Right, he played underneath the one system, so he knows the system inside and out. But sometimes you have to adjust your system. Why we talk about Bill Belichick, Why we talk about, Andy Reid is because there are multiple systems. Their system is predicated by the personnel that they have. Injuries happen. We talk about Sean McVay when all his receivers got hurt, what he did with the tight ends. See, when people come with these systems and they only been and know one way, they can't adjust. So what happens when the league catches up to this system? These young coordinators can't adjust when they're dealing with a veteran like Jim Schwartz, when you're dealing with a veteran defensive play caller like Robert Saleh. So what happens is, these guys got systems, but they don't have an understanding. They're not teachers. They don't have a depth of knowledge
Guy played in the league.
How football
in the
is.
league 10 years, right?
Did he? I never heard of him. I never seen him. When did he play?
This question, Joe, because you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan.
He played in the league.
You want the system that they had last year in Philly?
I do not want
Is that the system you want last year they had in Philly?
I would pass on that system.
Okay.
If they were to hire a Frank Smith or one of these other names,
You could have gave me Josh McCown. He played for 25 different systems. Like, give me somebody like that. Give me somebody that has a wealth of knowledge about the offensive concepts, the West Coast backgrounds about everything. I hate these guys that come in with one way of doing things because it's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. They can't adjust, and that's what happens in this league. This league is so watered down.
How you don't know if we haven't seen him yet, though, Bart?
You just told me. He played in one system. He's been coaching one system.
He listed Stefanski. He listed.
It's all the same systems.
You have selective hearing right now. That's what you have.
Well, your copper suit is giving me radioactive. Never mind. Never mind.
Well, you got a rug on.
Let's stay in the NFC East.
That's fair.
Let's go to the Giants. Wait, let's see where the OC search stands now. So it's no secret. They thought Monken was going to be the guy. Monken gets the job in Cleveland. Now the Giants, as Adam Schefter said, are in a bit of scramble mode here to see what they can do to get an offensive coordinator. I broke yesterday that they're going to meet with Jim Bob Cooter, who did not get the job in Philadelphia. Adam Schefter had Alex Tanney, a former player with the Giants, is going to be interviewing. He's been with other teams with Indianapolis. There are other names that are being mentioned, but if you're looking at the Giants, they hired John Harbaugh, and they paid him a lot of money, and now we don't have an offensive coordinator, and we're in a bit of a mode where we got to figure out who that guy is. Harry, did the Giants make a mistake waiting on this Todd Monken story before being proactive and hiring someone else?
Of course they did. Make sure you have plan B, C, and D in place. Like, this is a laughingstock right now for John Harbaugh, who's now making $20 million for you to sit here and not have an offensive coordinator or have other people in your pocket that you can resort to.
Well, you think about Harbaugh, what he does have is an extensive Rolodex because he was a good coach. He comes from a coaching family. I think you can look at guys like maybe Frank Wright, maybe Doug Peterson, from his Philadelphia days, and also maybe a guy like Anthony Lynn could be some hidden guys.
Do those do anything for you if you're a Giants fan and you're like, all right, I get Frank Reich now and I get Anthony Lynn?
Yeah, why not? Frank Wright was responsible for a Super Bowl in your division.
It's
Anthony
the opposite
Lynn,
of the young, hot name that everyone wants to.
Listen, all that flashy stuff don't mean nothing to Harbaugh. He's a traditionalist.
I would go Cliff Kingsbury.
Lamar saw a noticeable jump when he went from Greg Roman to Todd Monken. And some feel that Harbaugh waited too long to make that change. Now you have Harbaugh in a situation where he doesn't have his top choice. I wonder what that means for Jackson.
Let's start in your old home, Baltimore.
Charm City.
Where yesterday the Ravens introduced Jesse Minter as their next head coach. Minter was poached from Jim Harbaugh's staff in LA to replace John Harbaugh in Baltimore. Harbaugh had the job for 18 years. Minter joined our buddy Pat McAfee and spoke glowingly about his new organization and the quarterback yesterday.
When this job opened, this became the one for me, and this was the one that I wanted. Lamar and I have had multiple conversations. It's been great. It's been great to get to know him. I think relationships take time. I just look forward to connecting with him, helping him become the best version of himself, creating a team identity that allows him to thrive, which he's already proven to be an elite, one of the best player in the National Football League, and put a team around him that allows him to reach that ultimate goal of bringing a Super Bowl back to Baltimore.
All right, they knocked on the door for all those years. They did not get over the top. Bart Scott, when you see that man talking and addressing everybody, what does the Jesse Minter hire mean in Baltimore?
That the Ravens are getting back to the basics, right? They've won a lot of games with offense. They've won championships with defense. This is about being physical. Listen, it's different ways that you can lose in Baltimore. Being out physical and out tough is not one of them. And watching them not be able to stop people and dominate with all the great personnel that they had was a sign that they had to go back with a guy that was going to set it straight. And he was there 2 years ago with McDonald when they had that dominating defense. They fell short. So I think this is more about helping the offense by not putting so much on Lamar's plate, by having a dominating defense where he doesn't have to be Superman and put the cape on too often.
All right, well, we just talked about Josh Allen in the first hour and said it's on him. He's got to get him over the top. What do you do with Lamar in this situation where now there's a new young head coach on the defensive side of the ball, but we don't have an offensive coordinator yet?
Well, I'll say if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm taking it amongst myself and look at, okay, I'm going into year 9. I've been in the league for 8 years. I've been an MVP twice. Could have won it a third time. But clearly that wasn't enough to host up a Lombardi Trophy. So as an individual, I'm becoming more dedicated. I'm becoming more obsessive. I'm taking care of my body a lot better so we can probably get over that hump and host up that Lombardi Trophy. Jesse Minter, the previous 2 head coaches were able to win a Super Bowl. When you look at Brian Billick and you look at John Harbaugh. Jesse Minter is now the 3rd over the last, 25, 30 years?
30 years.
4 coaches in their history.
30 years. So now this is an opportunity for Lamar Jackson and Jesse Minter to connect together and doing something for Jesse Minter as his first time being a head coach. I'm not worried about Lamar. I just think you have to become more obsessive with your craft when you haven't got over that hump or won that Super Bowl. So obviously what you have been doing up until this point is not enough, right? You're the face of the franchise. You're the one everyone is counting on. I get it, the defense has to be great. But take it amongst yourself to say, I got to do more in order for us to be better.
There feels like there's a bit of hysteria in New York City over the Giants not having an offensive coordinator yet. It's very quiet in Baltimore. Joe, you know how this thing all works here. What isn't your concern in Baltimore right now?
Talent. You make good points about the defense. There's always room for improvement, but I think ultimately with Baltimore, it's going to come down to that mindset of how they perform in the big spots in the playoffs. Like they have never gone into the playoffs and lost to Kansas City because Kansas City had more talent than them. They lost because they couldn't handle the big spot. Because Lamar had uncharacteristic turnovers, because Mark Andrews maybe had an uncharacteristic drop in Buffalo. Those are the things that creep into the mind of a team that can seemingly run through a regular season, dominate you, and then get to the big spot and shudder a little bit. That's what Minter needs to do. The culture needs to be about one which, like New England, we don't care what the situation is. We don't care who you are. We're going to keep throwing. We're going to throw until the end.
Buffalo's at home, right?
Yeah.
Why? No defense, right? When you look at the 2 teams in the Super Bowl, they don't have all-star caliber quarterback play. It's not about that. When you get into cold weather games, bad weather games, it's about how can you stop teams, right? You talk about no offensive coordinator in New York, New York or in Baltimore, right? It doesn't matter. The Giants, when they drafted Harbaugh, brought him there to get back to the brand. And the brand, whenever the Giants won Super Bowls, it was about defense and running the football. Like, all this fancy stuff is cool, but it's like having a sports car. It's always in the shop. You can always win with a great defense in a run game, and I think that's what the Ravens are getting back to. And I think they have to get a head coach that can teach Lamar, an offense coordinator that can teach Lamar about championship football. And that's somebody like Doug Peterson or Frank Wright that can show him, you're great, but let me show you how to win this title.
Okay, veteran head coach. You're looking for a veteran OC. We'll see who they bring
With head
in
coaching
here.
experience.